Rain hammered my shop's tin roof when I saw him face down by the ditch. Phone shattered. I could lock the door or carry him inside. I chose the option that would change everything. The storm turned Main Street into a river by 8 p.m. Sensible people went home. I kept the bay doors half open, because overdue invoices don't pay themselves. The Henderson transmission lay in pieces on my bench when another sound cut through the thunder, something human, not weather. I stepped to the threshold and found him in the drainage ditch. Mid-30s, dark suit torn, one shoe missing, left arm bent wrong, the kind of expensive fabric you don't see in our county unless someone's here to buy it. I called for my kids without moving my feet. Lily, 12, appeared with her homework folder. Ben, 9, followed with the flashlight he never puts down. I told them to stay back and watch. Army medic muscle memory took over. Airway, breathing, circulation. He was alive, pulse thready. No wallet, no car in sight, and no reason for a man like him to be in a place like this. Instead of dialing 911, I stabilized him first. The delay wasn't apathy. Last month, a false alarm at the shop brought a fine. I'm still contesting. And the storm had cell towers blinking in and out. I hated that those facts sat in my head while a stranger lay in a ditch. But triage is triage. Stabilize, secure, then call. By the time Lily brought towels and Ben cleared the couch, we had him inside and breathing easier. He woke on my sofa, eyes gray and steady, despite the pain. "Thank you," he said, voice educated and cracked. "But you shouldn't have brought me in." "Too late for that," I told him. "This isn't charity, it's procedure." He said his name was Ethan. I said mine was Kara. And those were my kids. My phone rang. Unknown number. A professional voice asked whether I'd seen a well-dressed man, middle-aged, dark hair, possibly in an accident. No name given. No callback on my display, just a spoofed string of zeros that the carrier sometimes shows when someone hides behind systems. I lied. "Haven't seen anyone," I said. When I hung up, Ethan whispered, "If anyone asks, you haven't seen me." His hand checked a pocket that didn't hold what he wanted. "Files," he murmured. "Mercer can't." The word broke off as exhaustion pulled him under again. Ben asked who Mercer was. I didn't answer. I stared at a bank notice on my side table with a letterhead from Mercer Development Group, 30 days to make good or lose what I'd built. Outside, the storm worsened. Inside, a simple rescue had already grown roots into my life. I kept watch. I monitored his breathing, iced the swelling, splinted the arm. I told myself I'd call 911 when the towers steadied, and I could be sure the report wouldn't route to whoever had just called me. Rescue missions come with costs. You save someone, you accept the consequences. I was about to learn the price. Dawn came gray and quiet. My neck ached from the chair. Ethan's breathing was steady. Coffee helped until a different sound joined the morning, a clean electrical hum from the shop. I looked through the bay door and found him at my breaker panel with my spare coveralls over his sling, tightening a loose lug I'd been ignoring for months. "House rules," I told him. "You stay, you help." He agreed with limits. Help on my terms, no taking over, no decisions about my family. He had the compressor singing in a minute. "What kind of compliance officer knows electrical work?" I asked. "The kind who started as an engineer," he said, "before I learned how contracts really move money." That's when a white van rolled up. 2 men in polos and vests approached with clipboards and a practiced smile. "Safety inspection," one said. "Unscheduled. Saturday. Complaint-driven." I asked for ID and the complaint number. They had neither. "County doesn't show up without notice," I told them. "County calls first and leaves a paper trail. You two don't." The taller one dipped a hand toward a jacket pocket that didn't hold identification. Ethan's voice cut in, smooth and authoritative. "You're at the wrong address. Try Elm Street." They left too quickly for men doing anything legal. "They'll be back," Ethan said. That afternoon we turned unease into structure. We walked Lily and Ben through situational awareness like a game. If strangers ask who's staying here, What do you say? Nobody's here but family. If the lights go out, where do you go? Safe room? Call mom. What's plan C? Evidence first, safety second, questions later. I didn't love the rules, but the bank notice on my table loved them even less than I did. After dark, Lily stepped from the doorway with a small flash drive. It fell from your torn jacket, she said. Ethan held it like medicine. Proof, he told me. Contracts, emails, call recordings, a map of how Mercer's shell companies forge, backdate, and steal families like yours. He'd worked inside the machine and only understood too late what his clean memos had been greasing. I asked how many. 43. Our lot sat in the middle of Phase 2 because traffic patterns don't care who built their life where. We decided to push the data off-site at once. Lily opened a clean laptop and began a test upload to a DA intake box Ethan trusted. It climbed through the percentages until the grid hiccuped and died at 98. The router rebooted. The storm stuttered our signal, and the cloud showed only a partial file. We got the metadata and a receipt timestamp, not the payload. Not good enough. Before we could try again, a faint buzz drifted through Ben's window. A drone hung 50 feet up, its camera aimed at our house. Red and green LEDs pulsing like patient eyes. Long enough to confirm Ethan was alive. Long enough to mark our roof on someone's console. We killed the interior lights and waited out the hover, then watched it drift away toward the highway. Tomorrow night, I told Ethan, we do the handoff, my location, my rules, my family first. He agreed. Then I added an amendment I hadn't said out loud before. You follow my orders if it's my family on the line. Understood, he said. And for the first time, I believed him. Detective Maria Morales arrived Sunday morning with tired eyes and a map that made my coffee go cold. Early 50s, short on officers, long on judgment. She'd done her homework. 43 properties wasn't a guess. It was a plan to sweep whole corridors clean for a complex spanning from the interstate to downtown. She showed me the Web 12 shell companies, shuffling deeds, backdating notarizations, laundering signatures through a friendly clerk. Ethan explained the logic like a former believer confessing the doctrine. It was illegal, yes, but also elegant in the way only cruelty can be when given stationery. I asked about warrants. She was honest. We need more than digital files. We need to catch interference in the act, to convert spreadsheets into charges. She planned to arrest Sullivan, Mercer's foreman, at a storage facility that night during a forged transfer meeting. My lot would be safer once the network understood there were consequences again. Safer did not mean safe enough. That's when Ben knelt by my pickup and said there was a truck under our truck. He meant the tracker magnetic, pro-grade, blinking. We didn't smash it. We made it useful. Ethan powered it down, slipped it into a cookie tin, then later mounted it under my retired parts truck and parked the decoy where the street saw it first. If they needed a signal, we'd give them one we controlled. I asked the question that mattered most to me. Who pays for the gap between tonight and the slow justice of court? Morales could promise only legality. Ethan offered partnership on business terms. Equipment upgrades now. Mortgage fronted until new contracts landed. No buying of silence. No strings beyond fairness and work. I told him I don't sell, and he said he doesn't buy people. That was the language I needed. We agreed to change the game rather than the venue. The handoff would appear to happen at my shop, in view of cameras and my laminated emergency plan that had gathered dust for a year. The real payload would push through a clean channel at first light with Morales present to log it. Tonight would be about exposure, not transfer. We wrote our rule out loud so everyone understood it. 60 seconds to choose when evidence protection and child safety collide. 60 seconds, and safety wins. Lily repeated the chain of custody steps until they sounded like poetry. Seal, timestamp, hash on ingest, sign the ledger, hand to the detective with a warrant packet. Ben learned the fire triangle: heat, fuel, oxygen, and how to kill each in turn. We were not playing hero. We were writing a plan. 9 p.m. arrived, with a kind of quiet that means someone turned the town down to listen better. Morales idled an unmarked car a half block away. Ethan stood by the bench with a decoy drive. I sat where I could see both the front door and the bay. "Movement on the north side," Morales said in my ear. White van, 3 men, 1 circling back. 2 came through the front with smiles that only moved their mouths. "Emergency safety check," they said. "Paperwork?" I asked. While we traded lines, someone outside took bolt cutters to my service loop. The block went black. "Plan C," I called. Ben threw our backup switch. LEDs gave us just enough light to move. The men dropped their act. "Where's the drive?" "Already in the cloud," Ethan said. 30 seconds too late. It wasn't entirely true the earlier upload had failed. But confidence has its own voltage. The back door splintered. A 4th man came in by the storage room. He didn't know about the motion sensor we'd wired that afternoon. Floods blasted the yard bright, and there he stood on the asphalt like a deer next to a black SUV. Grant Mercer himself, phone to ear, waiting for the part where money talks louder than law. I smelled smoke. Someone had built a small fire in my rags, professional, designed to grow. Ben's lessons lived in my hands. Heat, fuel, oxygen. I starved it with a blanket, cut it with the extinguisher, and kept its smoke under the detector threshold so we wouldn't evacuate before the cameras saw what they needed to see. Then the conflict we'd rehearsed arrived early. Lily whispered that our neighbor's porch light went out. Our kids' safest exit route ran past the back gate where one of Mercer's men now paced. Evidence or children, that old equation came due. I checked the clock in my head. 60 seconds. "Morales," I said, "Route Bravo is dark." She answered that a unit was 2 blocks out, sirens running silent. 40 seconds. Ethan pressed the decoy into my palm. "Safety wins," he said, and nodded toward the interior hallway. I sent my kids through our 3rd path, tight, slow, and covered, and told myself we'd made the right calculation, even if the upload never finished. Sirens found their voices as if someone threw a switch on the horizon. The men flinched. The one nearest Ethan grabbed his broken arm, demanding the original. Ethan's face went white, but his voice didn't waver. "Already logged with the DA. You're not stopping delivery. You're committing assault and arson on camera. Check the timestamps when you get a lawyer." Morales came through the front with 2 uniforms and a voice that knew how to fill a room. "Police. Hands. Now." In the yard, red and blue washed across Mercer's face, as if the town itself had decided to color him in. She read him his rights clear and clipped, then turned her eye to my hidden camera and gave a single nod, as if she were accepting partnership right there on the concrete. When the last zip tie clicked, Morales walked my floor, speaking like someone building a case in real time. "We have visual of Mercer directing entry, audio of a fire order, seizure attempts on recorded media, and a cut to a public power line." She pointed at the sealed pouch in my hand. "We'll verify the hash, include chain and warrants in the packet, and log your camera drives into evidence with a separate seal and witness signature." I breathed, for what felt like the first time in an hour. Outside, while they loaded the van, Mercer looked at me across the distance and finally spoke within range of my mic. "Law," he said, "is the language money speaks best." I didn't answer. Some sentences convict themselves. 3 months later, I was under the hood of a 2019 Explorer when Morales walked in with sunglasses and a verdict. Mercer pled to 47 counts, 22 years minimum. Shells dissolved. Restitution ordered for all 43 families, with damages for the stress that never shows on spreadsheets. The clerk who rubber-stamped the forgeries took 10. The bank officer who greased the foreclosures got 15, and a separate indictment for skimming. My mortgage ledger read current in a font I wanted to frame. The new diagnostic unit hummed. The bays stayed full. Neighbors stopped saying dealership and started saying Kara again. Ethan taught Ben torque like it was a language. Lily ran our appointment book with more discipline than I had when I started. Ethan and I stayed inside the lines we'd agreed to: partners without debts, fairness without pity. When other counties called about similar schemes under different names, we didn't build a crusade. We built a process. We named it plain: Mitchell and Ross, automotive and advocacy. We fix cars. We teach people how not to lose what they built. If that sounds like 2 jobs, it isn't. It's one. Keep families moving in a world that profits when they stall. Morales came by one last time to close the loop. The judge cited premeditation and deliberate targeting in the record. Ethan's testimony and our footage made the difference. She looked around my shop and said it out loud so I'd believe it. "You did this by the book, Mrs. Mitchell. Evidence sealed, timestamps verified, warrants clean. It matters." Later on the porch, Ethan asked if I had regrets. Not about leaving corporate, he said, but about the parts of the story that hurt on the way to here. I told him pain wasn't the toll. Indifference was. We chose not to pay it. The phone rang. Riverside County. Another family with papers that didn't smell right. They asked for the team that brought down Mercer. We said we could drive out next weekend, look at the documents, and if the math added up, help them write a plan. Partnership, business, and personal mission. Both. Always both. That's what we decided. And decisions make habits. I ended the call and looked at the shop I almost lost. The stranger we saved had become the partner who saved us right back, and the work we did together kept proving the same quiet point. Power doesn't live in glass towers. It lives in small rooms, where people decide, in storms and in silence, who they mean to be. There's a county hearing on Tuesday about rezoning the riverfront. Different developers, same euphemisms. I added it to Lily's calendar and set an alarm. If they think no one's watching, they act like no one's watching. We'll be there. Mitchell and Ross, I answer the phone now. How can we help? Series complete for now, with the line still open.